Well, hello everyone, and welcome to the Wellness Universe launch. My name is Lolita Gurin, and I'm a stress management expert. I'm a 4 times best-selling author as well. Thank you for joining me today for the Life Without Limits: Freedom and Success by Healing Childhood Trauma. And we'll be starting with the first session called Pessimism. As a Wellness Universe expert, my intention, of course, for you is to recognize your childhood trauma and start healing it. The Wellness Universe brings experience like this to you because we believe happy, healthy, healed humans lead to peace globally. This session is donation based, so you're welcome to pay as much as you want, donate right now or after recording or anytime that you like, because this program is going to be all year round. And you can do this after it's all done or like before, or like I just said, please be sure to leave also a rating and a review to help others to recognize this program as very useful. I hope you will find a lot of nuggets here that you will be working on it days to come. And I hope you get a lot of it. As I said before, please have some water to drink. And I hope you already have your paper and a pencil ready. We'll do some exercises. I posted some links already in the chat. It is right on top of it. So those who want to know more about me, please go and look at the Wellness Universe Lolita Gurin profile. I also created a Facebook group for us just to join and create this community. It is private group. It's not like everybody can see it. So you're welcome to ask some questions and we can talk and share experiences. Also, a disclaimer, this is all recording. So if those who don't want to show your face or you don't want to have your name seen, you just can stay private. I will be leading the whole class. And after we're done with the class, I will be turning off the recording, and then probably the last hour, half an hour, we'll have a chance to talk and share experiences and ask questions and just be for each other. Well, so what is trauma? We obviously know that we all have it. And I have some clients who say, I don't have any childhood trauma. I think we all have it. Some have it less than the others. Some have a lot of childhood trauma. And I'm sure you already heard before that there is the big T and the small t. The big T is a trauma when something very dramatic happened in your life. Let's say you lost your parents, or there was a famine, or there was war that influences all generation and not just the one particular person. Also, the big T can be counted as something that happened to you. Let's say you had an addict in the family, which I will be really concentrating in this program a lot about how the children who grew up in the households with somebody being addicted to different things, to drugs, to alcohol, to shopping, being a workaholic. But overall, it will be addressing some things that maybe you'll encounter as a child, just from someone who was not even emotionally available to you. And a lot of us who in the households who were not physically abused, but a lot of emotionally abused, and physically and emotionally abused. So there's all sorts of abuse. And so I really want to talk about not what it is, but how we're going to deal with that. And when so let's just talk a little bit about me. I really did not wake up one day and said, you know what, I'm going to be a stress management coach because this is cool. I was working in a corporate environment and was a workaholic. I couldn't say no to people. I was totally just people pleaser. The more and more projects they will give it to me, I will be just taking them on. I was afraid to tell no to people. I was just ruining and burning my health to the point that I had to be rushed to emergency room. And then I thought, it must be some better way how to deal with the stress. And I realized that when you look at the nature is also stressing. Like I say, the grass also needs to apply some stress to grow through this concrete, right? But there is a good stress and the bad stress, and we know about that. This is not we're not going to talk about meditation and yoga in this workshop because we all know this. It works. It's great tools. But when I started applying those tools, of course, it helped me a lot. I learned how to manage my time. I started a little bit to saying no to people and having boundaries, and it helped a lot. But there was something inside of me that I realized there was something missing. There is this little piece, the last piece of the puzzle, it is still missing. And then I was just reading a book about how to manage your business, and the author of the book mentioned that she grew up with a father who was alcoholic, and she read a book about for children that grew up with the alcoholic mother, father, anyone in the household. And then I was like, wow, I need to read this book. So, and then when I was reading that book, I realized, oh my gosh, this is me. And then suddenly I realized that, a lot of things, how we manage stress, it really matters where we grew up, in what environment. And I say, we all are born with a particular set of Legos. And then we try to put those pieces together and see how successful we'll be in life. And some of us get more chips than less, and we always learn how we see our parents, our caregivers, putting those pieces together. And then we keep on doing this. And sadly enough, from generation to generation. And I realized there was a lot of my behavior was impacted really that I grew up with an alcoholic father. And and that happened when I was like in my 30s, like in the early 30s. And I realized, I'm like, how come I didn't know about that? And I realized that we don't really talk about it. There is so much of care given to those who are already addicted to something. There is so much of programs and financial aid and centers that treat addicts. But it's like, what happens with the kids who are normal? Like, you look at me like I'm not an addict. You look like I'm fine. Well, of course, I used to be a workaholic, but it's not like I'm on the street and I have nowhere to live. I'm very, very functioning. And many of can say, wow, you're so successful. But where is that coming from? Because I was burning myself down. And and then I recognized when I was in the room and let's say something happened, I was like, really hyper vigilant. I was very anxious. I was very pessimistic. There were many, many other things that we will be talking, continued all through the year. And I realized, wow, it has to do because what the Lego pieces I come with. It comes from the environment that I learned. I was trained how to react to that. So when I start talking about the stress management and how to uh, come to this balance with your body and your mind, uh, you really need to start looking what is your set point. What family, what environment did you started with? Because if you have a lot of things to clean up, it's going to take you longer. Healing does not start with the 1 second and then done in 5 minutes. It's a process. And I say healing is just like a dark room where you have to open the door, and no matter how painful it is, and no matter how scary that is, and you need to open the door and go and see what is in that room. You need to just switch the light on and see what's there. It's probably very dirty and a lot of things you don't want to look at it and it's painful. And all of this needs to be cleaned up, and it is a process. And there are so many things that influence our life, of course, all of this trauma that, as we will go through the whole of those sessions, the whole year, I'm inviting you to think about your life, about what environment you grew up, and how you can recognize your parents' behavior, even in your own life, in your own behavior. And, I would like to, so when we start with the trauma, and we all have it, no matter how much or how less. I have some clients who say, I don't have any trauma because I grew up in a happy environment. My parents were amazing. We were very, very loving. And I'm thinking, okay, if you think there was no trauma at all, there's even research done that even if you put a baby in a crib a harder way, there is a possibility that that child may develop a childhood trauma already just by being dropped from the higher surface. It's on the surface from the higher point. It's amazing how much the parents and environment influence our behavior. When I was reading a book by Gabor Mate, he said this child development already starts in the womb. If the mother is constantly stressing out, the baby inside, even though it doesn't hear anything, right, it's already picking up on her energy, and he will be already stressing out for the rest of his own life and will take his stress very differently than those who had a very peaceful and loving environment. So it takes courage. So what I now would like you to think about is, how are you going to reward yourself after this class today? So here is your number one thing where you will pick up your pencils, I hope. And now think about it. I'll give you a few minutes to think about it, how you're going to reward yourself, and write it down. This is a promise to yourself. What you're going to do today, that you attended this class today and you'll participate in. And it could be, just have a 5 minutes and do nothing. It's amazing that we don't even allow ourselves to do nothing. Or maybe you have a cup of coffee or go for a walk, but something has to do with you. It doesn't have to take an hour. You know what? Maybe you just get to hop on a plane and go on vacation to there you go, and you're like, hey, why not? Because here's another thing: when you grow up in the childhood trauma, you have, most of the time, I know I had such a low self-esteem that I continuously wanted to validate myself because I didn't get that validation from my parents. And so then I don't even feel like I have to reward myself. And so we're going to talk about that a little bit later in this session. But just let me know. Are you all already know how you're going to reward yourself? All righty. That's awesome. So why are we going to, so I wanted to start this session and the whole program really with the pessimism. And of course, there are bigger issues, as they say, that if a child grows up in the dysfunctional family, they have more issues. And actually, when I was learning more about especially alcoholism, I saw there was it's called laundry list of children who grew up in that kind of environment. And when I started reading that, I thought, this is very sad. And I thought to myself, I am totally damaged. I am so damaged, there is no way out for me. So please, everyone who's watching this right now, let me tell you, you did nothing wrong. It took me a while to realize that they did nothing wrong. And we constantly think that we're supposed to be better ourselves, improve ourselves. Because we didn't get that validation, we're continuously trying to prove this to ourselves and to other people. And that can influence a lot our relationships with other people. So when you're looking and you're thinking, okay, I have difficulty of rewarding myself, and you might be thinking, well, I don't know, this is really going to work for me? That's why I'm starting with the pessimism. Because if you were never validated and you don't have this trust in yourself that you are worthy of good things, you may start having those anything starting in your life, and you're already thinking, I don't think it's going to work for me. I'm sure there are plenty of diets you can see online right now, or you probably even tried your own for yourself. And many say, I don't think it's going to work for me. So even if it's going to start, you're already setting yourself for disappointment. So that's why I wanted to start with the pessimism, because we have a whole year ahead. And the one person that's going to actually do the work where you can change your life, it's you. So if you right now sitting and thinking, well, I don't know, I don't think it's going to work for me, that's not the right mindset. You really need to start believing in yourself, and you need to invest in yourself. And I hear a lot from my clients. They say, oh, you don't understand, I don't have time for this. I'm a single mother, I run my own business, I have 3 kids, I don't have time, I have to take care of my family. And then I say, okay, so who's going to take care of you of your family when you're sick? Because as you know, stress impacts our bodies physically. And it's not the moment for you to take care of yourself and your childhood trauma and your healing when you're in the hospital physically ill. That's too late. So the good moment to start is when? Now, today. And I am just so happy to see you all here, because it takes courage to open the door and look what's inside the room, especially when we've been told that exposing your family's secrets is a bad thing. It's shameful. Like you're just going to pretend like everything is fine. I think that's why I did not encounter that many people who were actually telling me that they grew up with an alcoholic or an addict in the family. because it's such a taboo. It's just like, no, we're just going to pretend like everything is fine. Everything is fine. And then at the same time, like, I know personally, I felt kind of lonely because I thought, well, I mean, this is so shameful. I'm not going to tell anybody. And of course, the neighbors knew it. I knew also the other kids in the neighborhood who they had their own also parents that they were drinking. And again, my mom wasn't any addict. My dad was, and she tried her best to put that together. So you just can imagine, and you probably heard them, maybe even yourself, being in a family where one of the parents trying to carry on with everything, and another one is just kind of becomes another child. And the sad situation is that when we have a family that one parent is functioning and another one is not, it is so heavy on the one that's well functioned parent that they don't even have any more energy or anything inside of them that they can give attention and care to their children, because they're trying to carry this household. So when I really understood, when I had compassion towards my mom, towards my dad, and I realized, really asked myself, why my dad is like that? Why is he drinking? And I think nobody wakes up in the morning and they say, you know what? I think I'm going to hurt my family today. I don't think anyone said that. It is, all of this happens because out of pain. And then I realized that my dad was also one of those poor children who grew up in an environment where he didn't get enough of love, support, and validation. So he was really coming out from the place of pain. So when I realized that my dad was already growing up in a dysfunctional family, and then my grandparents kind of were the same, and it looks like generational, the fear, the abandonment, the all of that hurt that's supposed to not be there when the child is growing up, that's what influences somebody to become an addict. And there are ways how to deal with that pain. Some people become an addict, and some people become narcissists, and then some people are somewhere in between. It is, all the trauma happens because we don't get our needs met. And so when I realized it's not like my dad wants to hurt me, he's just operating from the place of pain. And I think it's very, very important to heal when we come from the space, from the place of understanding and love and compassion towards those who inflicted pain to us. Because when we let go of that pain for them and we forgive them, then we let ourselves go, and then we can heal ourselves. And I heard that you cannot just sit and decide that, you know what, I'm forgiving you, what of course may happen. But also when you start healing, that forgiveness somehow just happens on its own, because now you feel so much better. And trauma is such a thing that you probably already know. It's kind of keeps on repeating. It's like a little trigger. It's like a wound that's infected, the wound that's only just starting to heal. And it's have this little area that is very soft, and then you finally starts to get harder, and then maybe you will be healing. But every time, even when you're an adult, something happens to you, something triggers, and then it's painful again. So it takes process, but of course it's totally possible. Only takes, again, the courage and the willingness to do. So I applaud you that you're here. So now I would like to, if you, of course, if you are so kind to share, and if you don't want to share, that's okay as well. So Mike, and you're welcome to type in the chat. The question is, would you agree that sometimes you have pessimistic thoughts? I know, sure, I do. I think it's hard also not to have pessimistic thoughts. I wonder, is it possible for a person just to be totally 100% positive? Maybe we'll get there one day. Yes, yes, I think so. I think we all have those thoughts. And now another question: did you grow up in the environment with pessimistic people? I also noticed that um, a lot of our behavior, of course, we learn. We learn from our caregivers, from the environment that we're in. And we may be pessimistic just because they are pessimistic. It's just kind of like, keep a conversation. And I grew up in Soviet Union, and I thought that life was very hard there, and that's where people were pessimistic about things because you just never know what tomorrow brings. But then when I came to US, I realized there's a lot of pessimistic people here as well. So I think it's very globally. Um, well, and so now let's just talk about. There you go. Said, okay, Deb said, not really good for you. I like that you had an environment that you had a lot of positivity. That's great. There are sometimes more pessimistic than other times. Yeah, I think it depends on what's really happening that day. Oh, and narcissistic. Yep, I know exactly what you're talking about. So that's good that we recognizing that there was something in our past that maybe we're following, and we can recognize it in our lives right now. So the why is pessimism is bad for you? It's an easy answer for this kind of question because it affects everything, and especially right now it's so popular to say, oh, everything is energy and let's just be as in love and peace, and don't have those pessimistic thoughts. I think from someone who came from with the childhood trauma, hearing this, let's say, oh, you should not think bad thoughts, you always need to be in this bliss. It is very hard because if you already came up with the environment, and now how can you even undo something that is comes naturally to you? If you learn that behavior, you will continue that behavior. And then if you get pessimistic, let's say, and then you catch yourself, oh, I just thought a bad thought, oh, how dare you? And then the parent inside of us starts calling us and say, oh, how dare you to think to do this? And then it looks like then we're abandoning ourselves. So when we're children and we're not being validated, then our parents looks like they're abandoning us at that moment. And then when we grow up, we're already adults, and then we start doing something, and then we feel like we're not successful because we're super hard on ourselves, right? We really need to get that validation, and then we're abandoning ourselves again. So one of the things I recommend, whatever you start working on your healing, you have to be super patient and very, very loving towards yourself. Imagine yourself as a 3 years old baby, that inner child. You really need to just hug it and say, everything is going to be okay. I'm there for you. Let's do this together. You are safe. You did nothing wrong. You are safe. Because if we will start doing the same thing, it just will hurt ourselves more. So why are we pessimistic? So one thing I already touched on, it could be a learned behavior because, well, I was in an environment what I will hear, oh, well, there is nothing else to talk about, just being pessimistic and just gossip and talk negative things, because who talks about what a wonderful beautiful day today is because the sun is outside? It's just boring. So let's just say, wow, well, the sun is outside, but wait, probably maybe raining soon. So, or is a politics, oh, there's a new president, he's not going to do anything for us anyway. So it's really comes to this negative environment that you really in a way protect yourself, because if you expect the worst, then you prepare for the worst, so then you will not hurt that much. So when you're a child that grew up in the environment that you did not get your support, validation, and love and affection that you needed, on top of it, you were abused emotionally or physically, then you expect to be the worst. And there were so many times that I remember myself and my clients will say, well, my dad was an alcoholic, and he would say, tomorrow we will go and ride your bike. And then tomorrow comes and that father is drunk. So obviously there will be no more bike ride. And then you will get disappointed because that thing that was promised to you, it didn't happen. A lot of times we may think, oh, it didn't happen because I was not worthy, because I need to be better. I need to validate them and by myself, and I'm going to do everything so maybe I can get that bike ride. And probably I was wrong, because you know how children always think. It's all about, you think it's because of you. And then when you get all your promises constantly broken, and how can, when something continuously over and over and over, you just expect that. And so I want to ask you, who had a lot of disappointment in your childhood that came from your environment? Yep, like Leah said, expect the worst, then not disappointment. Yep. Yep, like self-punishing to rationalize the negative thoughts, Jenny said. And it's, when you put to think about it, it's sad. It's like, I should not have this kind of childhood. I should have had a nice, joyful childhood that somebody loved me and appreciated me and saw me and supported me. But there's so many times that those parents or caregivers had to deal with their own childhood traumas, and most of the time they didn't even know how to deal with that, and they may be even taking that pain onto children, and then you just learn that life is not really that fun. Yes, and yes, I don't have specific examples, but did not feel validated in general. Yeah, so then you kind of expect nothing good. Okay, so let's talk about how pessimism influences abundance in your life. So let's say um, you hear in the workplace that there will be giving raises, like, oh, they will increase our salaries. I know I've been in that situation. I was like, well, it's not going to happen for me. Or let's say you are very good in something, and all your friends telling you, oh my gosh, you're so good, you totally should do this, people will pay, you should open your own business. And since you're already like used to pessimism, like, no, it's not going to happen for me, like, no, I don't really think so. I remember I actually wrote this example in my book, the stress management for adult children of alcoholics. That's I just came out 2 months ago on Amazon. It was a bestseller. Um, I was sitting in the office years back, and my supervisor came and he said, "Would you mind coming to my office for a little bit? I have something to tell you." Immediately, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm being fired. Like, of course. And as I'm going behind him, I'm gonna start thinking, okay, what did I do? What wrong can I do? And I'm thinking, I don't know. I didn't say anything. I did nothing wrong. I think all the projects were fine. I don't know what's there. So I come there, sit down, and he says, we've been looking through our bottom line and our quarterly profit line. And I'm thinking, here you go. He's going to tell me that they letting me go because they don't have any more money. And then he said, and then we looked at how much you make. And I'm thinking, here we go, I'm too expensive. And he said, you've been doing such a good job, we'll give you a raise. And I'm like, I mean, me, a raise? And here I am, was thinking, like, I was walking behind him to his office. I couldn't even feel my legs. I was thinking, I'm being fired today. Like, totally. And why is that coming from? That's not coming from the place of, I am worthy of a raise. I'm so good. I'm such a good employee. No, it's coming from that childhood trauma where I was not expecting nothing good. And even I remember there will be instances where I will think, oh, something's amazing going to happen. Like we will be going to see my grandmother or something. And then come after school and my dad's not even there. Well, because he was drunk and he couldn't even make it home. So when those things that keep on happening in your life, repeating and repeating, you just kind of become numb. You don't expect good things. So how is that you're going to get that abundance in your life if you don't even believe that you are worthy of all of this? Yeah, like Anna says, programming. Yeah, you program to be pessimistic. It's a self-preservation because if you're not going to be expecting, you will not be preparing yourself. So it's just survival, pure survival. And then, I'm inviting you to think about it. How many times in your life you had maybe an opportunity to come where you might be having some income coming, or someone asks you to do something they will pay, and then you said, well, no, 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 I don't need it. I can do this for you, but I don't need the money. No, no, I can do this for free. A lot of people charge for different things. But why do you have problem of accepting abundance? So, just, I don't need you to type anything that's very, very personal, but just think, were there times where you were just pushing away abundance from you? Why? Because you don't think you're worthy of that. And then you can ask yourself, are you a better now with accepting that abundance now? Are you? And I know it's a good thing when we give something like volunteering, or we have such a big heart and we help others just because we love doing that, and it is wonderful. But when something comes as abundance of one or things or people or love, are you really open your arms and you say, yes, I'm worthy? Or you're still kind of holding yourself back, and there is this little voice in your head saying, no, 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 this is not gonna look good, you not deserve it, you should leave this, or you're not gonna make it. That's another one. You will never make it, because you've been told that. And especially if you're not being validated for the amazing things that you did when you were a child, and maybe you had good grades, and when you look at the playground right now, the kids jumping someone and say, daddy, 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 look at me, look at me, am I doing okay? Right? They need validation. But if nobody gives you validation, you're like, I guess I'm not worthy of that. So yeah, so think about it. What are the things are you accepting abundance in your life or not? Because no matter what programs you'll be doing, no matter what diets you'll be trying out, no matter what business you'll be opening, if you do not really have inside a trust and belief that you can make it and you deserve to be successful and have that abundance, it's just not going to happen for you. Because deep down, no matter how many affirmations you're going to say, it's not going to happen. So it starts with knowing that you should be loving yourself and you should be open for those opportunities, because not everything that comes your way is harmful. We really need to be more open to see what is there, and we can ask other people for help. Like if you have a friend, you always can run by them and say, what do you think? Is this opportunity is good for me? Do you think I should get another job? And here's another thing about being open to opportunities. If you don't think you're worthy, you rather sit in a workplace or in some situations, also in relationships, where you're being abused, when you're not being paid well. Just hate being there, but you'll be still being there because you already learned that pain, it's okay. For you being abused emotionally or physically, it's fine. Like that's your normal. So when your love equals pain from when you're being a child, you will be continuously looking for the rest of your life in anything that comes your way the same way. And it's better sitting in pain, but you know what it is, and that's your normal, than taking that chance to taking some opportunity and actually getting out of that and being more happy. All right, so let's see. Jenny says creating a new habit of list all the reasons why that could happen is exciting and empowering. So loving this wisdom. Oh, I love this. This is wonderful. That's great. Like changing the attitude towards something and really looking at it from a different point of view. Great advice. So now I would like you to do an exercise. So, and I know you probably heard it's, write it down 10 things that you're grateful for. And I know we're supposed to be grateful right from the morning when we wake up. And I'm sure that's not something new that I told you, but it really serves you to see what amazing things you have in your life. So you're welcome to write it down. And we can write hundreds of those, but we don't have all this time. So you're welcome to write it down 10 things that you're grateful for. And I tell you why it is important to us. I've seen clients and friends as well, and I've been myself like that. I remember they say, oh, here's this new opportunity for you. And I'm like, no, no, that's bad for me. Oh, also I see other people and I think to myself, oh, their life is so much better. Especially right now when we watch like social media, we're like, wow, they went on vacation. Oh, they have a beautiful family. Oh, and they have a great job. And all of them are happy. But how come nothing good things happen for me? How come I don't have good things in my life? How come I'm not making all those money? And I noticed that many times I will have this tendency into falling into this victimhood mentality. And I will not even see or appreciate the things that I already have. Because for me, there was so much of negative. I just don't have this. And so when I started being more grateful and I really every single day writing down all of those things that I have, I realized, wait a minute, I think I have a lot of those good things. So then I started more opening up towards the other opportunities, and I started thinking, I think this might be a good opportunity for me to take. Maybe I should look for another better job. Maybe I should look for a better relationship. Maybe I should allow people to come to my life. When I started being grateful for what I have, and that grateful, this exercise I like because it pinpoints into things that we don't even maybe think about that, because we more pay attention towards the negative things in our lives out of survival, and because we learn that behavior. But when you finally start paying attention to what you have and you're being grateful, then you're like, oh, I think so. Next time, if you something comes your way and you're not really sure about that, or you catch yourself thinking, well, how come everybody else can have that and not me? How come they doing this and I'm not doing that? Their families are perfect and they have this. Start reading your gratitude list and see how amazing your life is, and be grateful, for whatever you have. And we all have amazing things in our lives. Just because you're watching this video, know how many people don't even have a computer? So many, many things. There you go. Look at Anna. She did a great job. Yes, yes. And Hugo and friends and loved ones and work and health and walking. I remember, Anna, when you couldn't, well, you poor thing, you couldn't walk. You had your leg broken. Yes, and freedom. Wine. Oh, look at that. And the beach and the backyard and the great meals. Exactly. Look at Jenny. A new day. Breath. My spiritual gifts. Yes. My health. My children. My family. My friends. My home. My community. My dreams. My goals. It just makes my heart sing as soon as I read that, right? Because there's so many wonderful things in our lives that we have. We just have to remind ourselves. And it's not like we're being excluded from this special circle because we're so broken. We're not broken. We just can heal, and there's nothing bad that we did. It's all fine, and we can start from this moment on to start loving yourself. And that's, when I heard the first time you need to love yourself, I was thinking, are you kidding me? You mean I'm not loving myself? I took this actually as as an attack, because I thought, oh my gosh, I'm not doing that one either. I am so not good in whatever I do that I'm actually don't love myself either. That it really didn't serve me well, because you really need to. I think the ultimate loving yourself is when you accept yourself the way you are without abandoning yourself. So in this healing process, please do not abandon yourself. I know I'm repeating myself, but there will be moments after this class that you will be coming in a pessimistic situation, and you will be thinking, oh, I was pessimistic again. That's fine. That's fine. When you catch yourself thinking about it and you change your point of view about that, that's where the change starts, and that's how the healing can begin. There you go. And Sharon also, she listed her 10 apartment, new laptop. Yay, new laptop! I love new laptops. Electricity. I know, right? I live in Houston, and 2 years ago, we had no electricity due to freeze. Oh, everybody loves electricity for sure now. And my healing journey, yes, it is a reward. The wellness, yes, the wellness universe. We love wellness universe. Thank you, Anna. Yes. And yep, the car, the food in my fridge, faith, prayer, choices, so many wonderful things. I am so thankful that you share those lovely things, and I thought that you'll do this privately, but I love it. It's great inspiration for all of us. Okay, and now I will be asking you to make another list. And you probably heard this one before. The first time I heard about making a list of your achievements was from Jack Canfield. And I know it's a long list can be, but let's just do, let's say 10 again. And why I like this exercise is really has to do a lot with abundance, how we accept abundance in our lives. Because if we do not even appreciate what we have, most of the time we don't even notice, or we do not appreciate those things about ourselves. Especially if some things come to you naturally, you will not be appreciating that. And if nobody told you that you're good at something, you're going to think like everybody else is doing it. There's nothing special about that. So I'm inviting you to write it down 10 things that you are proud of yourself. What did you achieve? And it could be small things or big things, anything, being on Wellness Universe. Yeah, I think that's I will count this as achievement of mine, because not everybody can be a Wellness Universe expert. So, and then this list should be constantly updated. So you can have this as an ongoing list for yourself in your notes. And then when you achieve something that you're proud of it, or like creating a course, or helping someone, anything that makes your heart sing, write this list, keep on going. And when you will come to the place when, let's say, there will be an opportunity for you, and you'll be asked to do something, and then you'll have doubt that, well, maybe I'm not going to make it, or maybe, no, this is not for me, or, oh, this is going to be so hard, there's a little pessimism, like, nah, I don't know, I don't know. I'm inviting you to read this list, because it will prove it to you that you are very capable of achieving things. You can do this, and you can go through no matter what process it is and achieve results. That will be like your inner pep talk to remind your brain that you are very capable and you should proceed forward. So I'll give you a few more minutes to write. And if you would like to share as your 10 achievements in the chat, that'd be wonderful. All right. So Leah says, author, co-author, Wellness Universe, World Changer, yay! Energy healing, yes! 33 years of happy marriage. I applaud you, because I know what it takes. Wow, quite an achievement. Wow, 33 years. Raised two fabulous daughters, yes! Wow, I'm sure they are amazing, just like her mother. There's mother. Self-healing of adult children alcoholic. Yep, that's quite a journey. Peace Corps volunteer in Africa. Oh, wow, I didn't know that about you. That must be some sort of trip. Kudos to you. I love it. Okay, I was thinking probably Anna will have this list that I'm personally still looking up to do something similar. Like I always say, I want, when I grow up, I want to be like Anna. Recognizing that I cannot do anything to great success alone. Wow, that is a quite of understanding. My marriage, yes, you're an inspiration. The Wellness Universe, well, of course. I mean, who can top that? Publishing 4 best-selling self-care books, those are amazing. Having a clothing line celebrities wore, oh my god, I didn't know about that. Oh, I need to check this out for sure. Heading up to $15 million division of a company. Oh, amazing work. Wow. I hope you're taking breaks and scheduling your stress management in the busy day before you burn out yourself, because if you're on this session, you probably don't love yourself enough. Being a mentor, absolutely, you're a very amazing mentor. Being mentored, yes. Buying my own home and cars in my 20s. Oh, that's a huge thing. To buy your home and car when you're 20s, whoo! Not everybody can do that. Finding a self-confidence after a lot of bullying. Mm, that's that is very painful for a lot of people. That's wow, you're very courageous. Inspiration. Okay, Jenny, listening to spirit. Yes, a lot of people don't even listen to that, so I applaud you. Healing my childhood trauma, raising my children, learning to live with my disability. Wow, that takes a lot of courage and strength. Violence prevention program. Wow, that's very, very needed. Oh, I would love to hear more about that. Purple Dot program. Oh, I think that's what it's called. Okay. Moving my elderly mom in with me to spend her best years together. Wow, that takes lots of courage. I don't think I can do this myself because you probably have an amazing relationship with your mom. I think not everybody can have the parents living with them. That's amazing. That's wonderful. Joining the wellness universe. Yes, I have this achievement myself. And sharing my story and becoming an author. That's beautiful. It takes a lot of courage to be an author and get your voice out for everybody to hear. Sharon, healing journey, accounting and HR career, beautiful. Self care, advocate from myself and others, awareness, Reiki master, teacher, oof, amazing. Empath, encourager, always learning, always growing, accepting wisdom. Yes, we need more people like that. Yes, this is how we all heal the world around us. Yep, have pretty serving anxiety. Yep, wonderful. Thank you. I appreciate your sharing. Do you see how wonderful we are? This is just amazing. So we need to remind ourselves every single day. So whatever the pessimism, little tongue, just like, I don't think it's gonna need it. Remind yourself this. Read this list and say, you know what? I got this. I'm amazing, and I'm going to do this. Do not close off those opportunities for yourself. Yep, showing up for yourself is the first step, exactly, because when you believe that you are worthy, this is where the healing starts. When you're not abandoning yourself and standing by your side. Okay, let's just talk about the pessimism and the relationships. Well, I remember when I divorced and went back to dating, it was laughable when I think about it. I will start conversing with someone, and I immediately would think to myself, "Oh, nothing will come out of it. Oh, they're not gonna call me. Oh, they're not calling me. They don't like me. And it was just so saturated with pessimism, which of course I realized it was self-preservation. Really, like don't get your expectations high. But then I start realizing that, well, wait a minute. So how am I going to meet anyone if I will discard just like that? And I noticed that I will do the same thing with the people that I will meet. Let's say we in some event and someone introduces me to someone, and I already will look at them like, I don't know. And again, it comes from survival, from self-preservation, that we learn to be super careful with the people that we accept in our lives, because when we grow up in the environment that we do not trust anymore other people, especially the authorities, um, anyone who looks like they are more achieved than us or older than us or anything that others would trust them. Like I had for a very long time issues with trust. I'm actually claustrophobic, and I read somewhere that claustrophobia comes from not trusting other people. And no wonder, because obviously that's a childhood trauma. Because when you expect the support and appreciation and being there and love and affection from your caregivers, and you don't get that, you don't trust them anymore. And then when they don't show up, or even worse, they hurt you emotionally or physically, there is no trust. So of course you're going to see other people in your life already with a distance, because how else you're going to do? I think it's like a dog. When a dog been constantly being beaten, even if there's someone that will reach out and try to pet the dog immediately will go like, whoa, wait. And I realized that I was I was pushing away a good people from my life. I was thinking, no, I don't. That someone looks really too good to be true, and it could be friends or any, no matter a boy, a girl, or whatever. I will be like super careful about that. And there were times that I would build such a big wall around myself that people couldn't even get through it. It's like, well, how many times can you call me? And Then I realized in my relationships, I will test them. I would do something mean or totally ignore them. And then when they are tired of beating that wall up, then they will leave, right? And they'll be like, ah, you see, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it, it's not going to happen. I knew it's too good to be true. So I'm inviting you now to think, are you now open for new people to come into your life? And it in a way is inviting abundance in your life as well. Relationships, I think, is also obviously something that we can have very happy and plentiful relationships and friendships with a lot of people. But just think about it. Do you think that you are open and for new people in your life, or you still a little bit closed off? And if you mind, you're welcome to share it in the chat. Okay. Yep. Sharon says, I'm opening myself up to new people. Wonderful. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of also trusting yourself that you'll be able to handle no matter what comes. I also noticed that when I would um, look at the new people that come into my life, I will project behavior that I learned from my childhood, and I already expect something negative from them. And I learned that if you expect someone to display negative behavior, you're probably going to really start looking only for that. And it's like looking at the big paper that is totally white, but then there's like this one black dot in the middle, and all you can see is just that black dot, but you don't see all those beautiful white things around it. And I noticed when I was married, that was one of the things I will pay attention a lot, what was wrong with my relationship instead of what was good in my relationship. Of course, I was married to a narcissist, and I realized why. Because of a childhood trauma, because the love was equal pain. Pain was equal love to me. But that's a different conversation. But it's very important to recognize and catch yourself. How do you talk to other people? How do you take them in? And are you looking at the more negative things or more the positive things? Because when someone is inspired to be a better person and you inspire them to be better selves, they will start doing that. And if you will expect the worst of them, they will bring that up too. Okay, so Anna says, I think my strong attachment to nurture real and wonderful relationships comes from my shitty relationship with my dad. Yep, we learn, especially daughters and fathers. That's how we learn. That's what the men in our lives would look like. We always compare to that. Yeah, so she said relationship and the community is the most important thing to me. Yes, that's how we relate to others. Okay, and Deb says, not quite yet, trying to go slow. That's good that you're patient and you give yourself space and you stand by your side. You're not abandoning yourself. That's very good. And I'm pretty lucky with family and the hubby. That's wonderful. That's a treasure. When I hear a lady swap like Leah, 33 years into marriage, I'm like, there is still hope for me. there is still those good relationships. Okay, and Lisa, on the other hand, I usually enjoy the excitement of meeting new people. On the other hand, I notice I still have boundaries around how many people I have bandwidth for, as this will take too much out of me. Oh, boundaries. That's an amazing thing. We will be talking about boundaries in the months to come, but that's wonderful, especially when we want to be more validated. We keep on pouring ourselves out and do not give enough time and energy for ourselves. So that's amazing that you're cautious about that, and you space out the energy and the people that you bring in. That's good. Yep. Okay. Okay, so I also want to ask you now, and just think, and not necessarily that you need to we up to an hour now. So there's something that I would like you to write it down and maybe contemplate and think about it. Or you just can write it down right now. The situation is, there is a situation in your life right now that you view it with pessimism, And this question definitely will come up in the future in your life. If, let's say, there is an opportunity coming, ask yourself, am I looking at this from pessimistic point of view? Where you're catching yourself. Am I thinking negatively or positively about that? Where is this really coming from? Am I projecting this from my past? So let's say you go to a doctor's and they say, well, we're looking at your test results and we will let you know in 3 days. So I know me used to be, I immediately jump into a negative thinking, immediately into pessimism. I'm like, I have cancer and I'm going to die. That's it. Now I'm going to review, what am I going to live? They even didn't say anything. This is just like, it's just like, looks like totally neutral. Or like something, I apply for a job and they're like, well, yeah, we have the 155 applicants. Immediately I'm like, oh, they're not going to pick me. I mean, way too many people. I'm not that good. They're definitely not. So when you find a situation that comes and you ask yourself, how do I view this? Am I pessimistic? And then you should ask yourself, especially in those pessimistic situations where you're afraid that something's bad will be, like that comes to do with a lot of fear, ask yourself, how likely this would happen to you? How likely? And if you really want to help your brain to deal with the fear, you can do some research. For example, there is a breaking news, and there are 3 prisoners that just broke out of the prison. Do you think, oh my gosh, they're going to come and shoot me? Okay, then think about it. Well, how likely that's going to happen? Like how likely? Or also think, if somebody else, like your friend, will come and say, oh, you know what, this and this will happen, and what advice you will give to your friend? Because when you think about other people, you use more of your common sense. But whatever comes to you, of course, is about the survival, and then you will be projecting pessimism. So your answer may be very, very different. So think about that. And okay, what's the genesis? I have learned people pleasing. And learning that and learning to love being with myself has allowed me to begin to let people into mask-free zone. I think that was answer from the previous question. That's good. Like I mentioned before, that's good when we're opening up to more people. Sometimes when we'll ever get better. And yes, there are different, of course, situations, but I think there are so many miracles already happening in the world that they think, always ask yourself, why not me? Why? If we think that the worst things can happen to you, then ask yourself, what if the good things will happen? And then there are a lot of times I think to myself now these days, you know what? I've been through so much negativity and so much whatever, you know what it is? That it's about time for me to get the good. Now it's going to be the good. Now it's all the good's going to come in. Okay. So here is the ongoing list that also I would like you to keep that. So you're welcome to write it down and keep it, those things that you expected to be negative, but then turn out to be positive. This helped me a lot. So let's say you think, oh, I will be late. Even simple things. Oh, I'll be late to this meeting. And you actually got on time. Or you think, oh, somebody's never going to call me again. And they called you. Or I will never get this job. But then you got the job. You get what I'm looking here for. So create this list. And if after this class, you remember there was some things in your life that you expected to be bad, but actually was very good, came out even maybe better than you expected. Well, obviously God came out better than expected because you think it's not going to happen. Just continuously grow that list. So when you catch yourself that you don't feel inspired to try something, or you're afraid, especially when you're afraid that something's bad going to happen, or you're not going to make it something, you don't have a belief in yourself, read that list. Because our brain really needs to remind ourselves that this happened before and it can happen again. And when we in that dark space, when we're afraid that something is going to happen bad or something's not going to happen good, we really need encouragement. And I think, especially when you don't have someone that you can call up and, somebody who is great in giving you a pep talk, this list will help you to remind you and prove you that, wait a minute, You think that those things never happen to you. You think the worst will happen to you. Look. So this is ongoing list. Then also there is another ongoing list that I will recommend you to keep also for the future is write down good things that happen today. If you have time, and we always can find time, even great practice when you're falling asleep, remind yourself of three things. Just think about it, three things that good happened in your day. Could be simple thing as you got up and went for a walk. That is a good thing. Some people don't even get up. So appreciate what you have, and it will really help you to remind yourself there are wonderful things happening to you, and you will learn to appreciate yourself, and you will give yourself more opportunities, and you will look less pessimistic in whatever comes into your life. And then you keep on going, with the same list, something you always can come back to. And it could be a notebook, it can be in the Word documents or on a laptop, or any way you like it, but that should help you with the believing in yourself. Well, we're coming very, very close to the end of this class, and now I think I need to remind you that you definitely need to reward yourself after this class. It's very important. And the homework that you need to keep, and now we will talk about it in the month, is you have to really starting with observing yourself. When you observe yourself, you stop the train of thought. You know how the thoughts are? You start one and then it just accelerates. And then this one thought brings up another thought. And it could be positive and it could be negative. When you are inspired and let's say you're in a gratitude, there are more things come up with the gratitude. When you're in pessimistic mood, the more pessimistic thoughts will come. And it becomes, because of the speed, and it's like a train is going to, just drop off the cliff. So it's very important to catch yourself. And when it comes to stress management, if you're in some stressful situation, the number one thing, you need to catch yourself by getting control of your thoughts. So if you can repeat yourself affirmation, that is inspiring for you and helps you to ground and balance yourself. And then you definitely should touch yourself, your body. You just can rub your fingers, that also works, or rub your neck, and repeat the same thoughts while you're breathing in and out deeply. And that will catch that train from derailing it. And then you will self-regulate. And then maybe in 10-15 minutes, then you can really think about it. Okay, what really happened? So then you can catch yourself of being pessimistic. So then you can change that point of view about something, what you're being pessimistic. Go to your list, give yourself that pep talk, so you can change that train of thought to something that actually will be productive, instead of being just negative and then bringing more negativity in your life and maybe just ruining all of your day. So I hope that you will keep those. I hope that you will tell me some good, there you go, the homework: observe, serve, change attitude, and create lists. And when I hope that next month when we will meet, I will be asking you what great things happened and how did you manage your pessimism. And I hope you have some great winning stories for us to share. And it takes work, but it just starts with little thing. And as long as you give yourself love and understanding, and you do not abandon yourself, everything is possible. Okay, and Jenny says, a new habit I have created is to use empowering phrases on my passwords. Oh my gosh, I love this idea. Even better when we have to change them so often. I think I'm going to do this today. Oh my gosh, this is wonderful. Yes, wonderful. And Sharon said, I've been very intentional about rewiring my brain for my highest good. Awesome. This is where it starts. When you really start taking charge of what you think, it's life-changing. It's life-changing. And Deb says she loves list. It's wonderful. Also, when we make that list, we need to also remind to read it when we really need it. And yep. And so thank you so much, Anna, for again posting. I also posted the same links into the shared notes that you probably see it on your screen. And so I am asking you, please join the Facebook group that I created. We can talk and share about things, and you're welcome to ask questions, and we all can answer it and support each other. And as I mentioned before, um, um, I published 2 months ago the stress management for adult children of alcoholics, how to manage everyday life without being overcome by childhood trauma. Yay, look at that. Thank you, Anna. And I in this it is 25 chapters, and every chapter addresses one of the big issues, which I think are not issues. They can be used as your superpower. And so also I would love you to leave a review for this class, and that will give an idea to others who will come maybe after this live and watch this recording and attend other live sessions. And donate, please donate anytime that you can, or if you don't want to, you can, that's fine too. My purpose here is to inspire you to change your life, and I don't have to have money for this. Just because I was here and you are listening to me, that's already made my day. And share it with others. Do you know anyone in your life that can use inspiration and can already inspire to work on themselves? It's a healing process. Maybe you can do it together. Maybe you can have a group of friends who you can meet together and discuss. Let's say pessimism. This month is pessimism. Let's talk about pessimism and keep each other accountable, and stop each other and say, hey, you just said this, remember, we're not supposed to be doing this anymore, and change your thinking. So I think as a community we totally can do this together, and I'm so proud of you that you showed up. And that shows a lot, because if when you have enough courage and inspiration to change something in your life, that's when the change happens. So will be stopping the recording now, and for those who want to just talk or have questions in privacy, I'll be happy to do that. Thank you so much.